Donald Trump, of course, had a major victory in the Middle East this week. Here he was earlier in the week in typical style, spruiking the enormity of what he managed to achieve.
You know, that is relatively easy compared to what we just did over the last week in the Middle East. Middle East was 3,000 years, and we got it done. This is 3 years, and I think we'll get it done. I think that President Putin, I think he wants to get it done. We'll see.
Middle East first, Putin next. We shall see. But it hasn't all been smooth sailing. There's been incredibly distressing footage of Hamas, who'd have guessed, executing people in the streets. That's right, Hamas executing Palestinians in the streets. The terror group is rejecting claims it has embarked on a campaign of violence. So really, since Israel's partial withdrawal from Gaza, Trump is issuing some pretty harsh rhetoric in response.
We have told them we want to disarm, and they will disarm. And if they don't disarm, we will disarm them. And it'll happen quickly and perhaps violently.
Joining me now is John Hinderaker, president of the Center of the American Experiment. John, always great to see you. So this was a sensational week, one of the great weeks, I believe, in our lifetimes. Do you share my optimism and my, celebration of what Trump has achieved? And obviously there are plenty of potholes on the road ahead. How do you see it playing out?
Well, I do share your view, Rowan. And the thing I would emphasize is that this was not simple. This was not easy. This was a multi-pronged strategy that has now come to fruition. It included the bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities by us. It included the killing of the leaders of Hezbollah by Israel. That cut off the funding to Hamas. It included twisting the arms of the Egyptians and the Qataris to get them to lean on Hamas. All these things had to come together. And in the end, Trump achieved the goal that everybody said they wanted, but that nobody else could achieve, and that is a ceasefire and the return of the Israeli hostages.
And I think the hostages was the extraordinary success because it's denied Hamas that leverage, although they are now playing ridiculous games, one suspects, over the remaining bodies of the deceased hostages. But tell me, John, you mentioned Putin. Trump is now saying that he's had a productive phone call with Putin about the Russia-Ukraine conflict. So have a listen.
Tomorrow I'm meeting with President Zelensky, and I'll be telling him about the call. I mean, we have a problem. They don't get along too well, those two, and it's sometimes tough to have meetings, so we may do something where we're separate but equal.
John, Trump's clearly a great believer in the Ronald Reagan idea of the momentum, building up this momentum that will just keep rolling forward. He's done it with the Middle East, just pushing through with that strength of will. Do you think we can actually see some resolution to Ukraine-Russia?
I am hopeful, Rowan. We know that what happened here is that Putin actually reached out to Trump, and they talked for 2.5 hours on the phone. Trump said they had a great conversation. What prompted that? Why did Putin reach out to Trump? I think because Trump mused out loud. He said, if this war doesn't get settled, I may send Tomahawks. Okay, Tomahawk missiles can reach Moscow from Ukraine. And Zelensky is in Washington right now to meet with Trump. And one of the things they're going to be talking about is supplying Tomahawk missiles to Ukraine. And I think here again, I think Trump is bringing pressure to bear, and I'm hopeful that it's going to have effects.
But on a lighter note, John, the Trump derangement and hypocrisy of that show, the left-wing show called The View, it was at fever pitch this week. During a 2024 episode on the show, one of the hosts promised to wear a MAGA hat if US President Donald Trump released the hostages in Gaza. Here she was.
If he gets the Israeli hostages out, I promise I will wear a MAGA hat for one day on the show.
So the hostages are out, but no hat yet. Hasn't appeared. So Donald Trump lashed out at her, branding her a joke. Here he was.
Well, did she put the hat on?
Well, she hasn't got the hat yet.
Who is it? Which one?
Alyssa Farah.
Okay. Well, she used to work for me. So she used to work here. I'll tell you about Alyssa. She worked here, and then she got hired by The View. And they gave her a couple of bucks, and she changed her view very quickly. But it just shows what a fraud The View is, because this woman gave me letters and statements She said I was the greatest president in her lifetime. So I think she's a joke.
John, I love the way Donald Trump knows every TV host, watches every show, keeps an eye on what's going on. He's a TV junkie. But this kind of egg on the face situation, not uncommon for those ladies on The View, is it?
Well, The View is a total joke. I mean, Trump is right about that. It's appalling to me that there are people who actually watch that program. But, you know, Rowan, there's another point here I think we should make, which is that all these people on the left that have been so eager for a ceasefire. Remember all the demonstrations across the world? Ceasefire, got to have a ceasefire, right? End to the fighting. Well, guess what? Now we've got a ceasefire. And it's radio silence from all those people. All those leading Democrats don't have a word to say. You'd think they'd be happy because the ceasefire they always said they wanted is here. The release of the hostages is here, and yet they're completely silent.
John, we have an expression here, hypocrisy, thy name is Labour. And I'd say the same about the Dems in America. John Heinderegger, always great to chat to you. Thanks so much for coming on The World According to Rowan Dean.